So Bruce, before we started the cameras rolling, said there was a couple of bits that he would like to show me to tighten up my guitar playing. So without further ado...
Well, I think the first point I'd make is, if I'd been in there recording, you'd have the same observations of mine. So, you know, at a certain point, I suppose I've got my producer head on, you know, at this point, rather than guitar teacher. And it's a tough thing, isn't it, when the red light goes on and you've got guitar players looking, and obviously we're thinking there's going to be...
But what we also have, which really helps there, is we've got an end goal in mind.
Yes.
And I think this is where the whole, you know, seeing it with a guitar teacher head on, well, are we trying to get a result in the next 20 minutes, half an hour?
Yeah.
Or am I trying to get a result for a student over the next year?
Yes.
Those are two different things and two different goals.
Yes.
But what were your observations just of the 20 minutes of loud playing?
Okay, so when we came to do the lead guitar thing, now you all said to me I'm a rhythm guitarist. I think you're a really good lead guitar player, and I think we could develop it, because I think if you were to wring the most out of one lick, often you go into the next lick.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about two things. Just repetition is cool sometimes. As the chord changes, you play the same lick.
Yeah.
But also you can really work on your phrasing. So, for example, your vibrato is a signature of your playing, isn't it? That
100%.
You know, that kind of thing. So I'd take something very simple, like a, and see what you could. That's it. So maybe we could work on the vibrato. Again, it's your signature. You know, you could do a Paul Kossoff one that's quite fast, like you just did there. You could do a slower and wider one. Video's quite good for this, because you can see people's hand. You know, I do a pivot like that for a... And a slow vibrato can tell people that you're in control, but a fast one, Angusy, can be really exciting. But I think you can make more out of your vibrato. How
Definitely. And as I said previously, I did have an injury in the end of 2013,
right,
which completely knocked me out of lead guitar playing and doing string bending for the best part of 2.5 years.
Wow.
And the thing that I haven't got back yet, through lack of practicing exactly that, but for fear of the injury coming back, is the vibrato.
Yeah,
there's I think vibrato is the last thing to really nail of the phrasing tricks for anyone really, and it's the last thing that's not quite come back from me.
Right.
And this just happens to be one of the things why I have covered a lot more fingerstyle kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's all static shapes.
Yeah.
So I could really think I can get back to a higher level.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
But I'm not, because that gets me right there,
with the
and that accentuates exactly where my injury was.
Maybe this is an aspect of your style, like Lindsey Buckingham from
Fleetwood Mac, 100%. One of my kind of favourites there, and it's like when you say how much can you wring out of one lick or one note, even come on, that's Lindsey Buckingham right there.
But also, this is an opportunity, because it's a potential weakness, and yet if we don't go near vibrato at all, maybe it could be an aspect of your playing, because there's plenty of us that do the big vibrato. Maybe it's something you do, you don't do it. You know,
it's something that obviously I'm really aware of as a teacher, because I've had to teach people vibrato, but I'm also aware that, you know, for the last five years or so, I've not been the best example of it. So there's lots of different ways around it that I do. Explaining it the way that you do as more of a pivot thing is fundamental to string bending, which is all kind of vibrato is in
I've
its
got
own way.
Another one which is really cool, which only comes when I'm in really doing a lot of playing, and it's like the delirium tremor kind of thing. And it's the
first finger, the BB King,
like
the tremor. That I certainly never got even back in the day. And
well, I spent a year doing nothing but vibrato, single notes, a bit monk-like.
There you go, man.
You know, a bit zen.
That is what it takes, and especially when you see someone doing that on string one, I'm like, that guy's spent years getting that. Because on string one vibrato with your first finger, That's probably the hardest point. That shows up, right?
I reckon you're
100%.
right. Yeah. So wherever you want to take it, I mean, I've seen people do very convincing vibratos with the classical style, very subtle. But that could work. But you know, it's an aspect of phrasing. But the other one, this is a tip that came from Jimi Hendrix, and it came via Eddie Kramer, who recorded, is the engineer and the producer of those records, and then it came to Rob Chapman from Eddie Kramer, and I think it's a great piece of advice. And Jimmy said, I play like I speak, and when I breathe I stop playing, and that gives your playing this kind of rhythmical, because you have some really good rhythmic ideas, so it's like bringing that really great aspect of your playing out a little bit. And there's an exercise that I'd like you to try.
Sure.
So we're going to play just an A.
I think you can keep it just on the if that's all right with
So say we have a little riff, and you've got to do a solo. But, you only allowed one note.
Okay.
You only allowed the root note.
Okay.
So you only allowed. Because what that forces you to do is think about two things: just the rhythm and the sound that you get when you pick.
Sure. Give me a rhythm part then, I guess.
Wicked. See how it's coming? Right, we're going to we do question and answer. So we all allowed one note, and I'll do the question. Space. So now, if you allow yourself the luxury of two notes, suddenly the guitar feels like this amazing world of possibilities.
100%. And I do the same exercise with students that can't do what I was kind of doing in there, just rocking on an A chord. And I call it the power of A. And I just made them stay on an A chord. We can keep
show me that one.
Keep a drum beat on typically, but you could do it on your own.
You do that, and I'll do the lead bit then.
So this would actually be it would be kind of unaccompanied, but maybe it will work. So if I do the same sort of thing as I was coming up with in there,
with the chord. Because the great thing is
that's the same one as I had in there.
Yeah. The other thing, I pull it back behind the beat. Now I'm going to give myself two notes. Luxury.
But if we had any of these big amps turned on, eh?
And then you get this Steve Ray Vaughan thing. He's giving himself three notes. He can solo on. You don't need many notes. It's all rhythm. And this is where your personality comes in, because I suppose my thing with guitars, I just felt it quite hard and quite flat, so that's what I do. We really should be plugged in. But you get the idea.
But yeah, that's one exercise, and often it's making people realise the power of these, the little chickers in between.
That's it,
and this is where, you know, the AC/DC, Angus and Malcolm thing sort of derives from. They were jamming and writing songs for fun, and then
this is very
turn it up
Angus
and do it
and
loud.
Malcolm, you know. But you know, sometimes it's fun to totally go nuts and shred away.
Yeah,
there's a certain joy in that.
Cool,
which cannot be forgotten.
And that's where we'll leave this guitar lesson, I think.
Good.
That's a great ending. Thank you so much for checking out this video, guys. How Ace is Bruce. If you want to learn more about what Waterbear Music College have to offer, you can click the links in the description of this video.